The morning sunlight streamed softly through the curtains, washing the bedroom in a warm, golden glow. I turned over lazily, my fingers searching for the familiar warmth beside me. But the space was empty. I blinked, still half asleep, and a faint smile touched my lips. Ethan was always an early riser. He loved having fresh coffee ready before I even opened my eyes. It was one of the many things I loved about him, that quiet thoughtfulness, the little gestures that made our love feel so solid, so real, so safe. From the kitchen, I heard the faint, comforting clink of a mug. He's making my latte again, I thought, snuggling deeper into the sheets for just a few more seconds of bliss. When I finally padded into the kitchen, Ethan looked up from his phone, startled for a moment before his face broke into that easy smile. "You're up early," he said, quickly placing his phone face down on the counter. "Couldn't resist the smell of coffee," I teased, wrapping my arms around his waist. He smelled like soap and home, a scent that was my personal definition of comfort. He leaned down and kissed my forehead. "Big day today, meeting with the new client. Wish me luck." I looked up at him, into those soft gray eyes I'd fallen in love with 3 years ago. The eyes that always seemed to promise I was safe. "You don't need luck," I whispered. "You've got charm." He let out that familiar laugh, the sound that always filled my chest with a gentle warmth. Later that afternoon, I was tidying up our apartment, enjoying the quiet hum of a day well spent. That's when I saw his phone buzzing on the table. He'd left it behind. That was strange. He never went anywhere without it. My first instinct was to send him a quick text to remind him, but as I glanced at the screen, the name flashing across it made me freeze. Emily, followed by a bright red heart emoji. My stomach plummeted. For a split second, my brain refused to connect the dots. Emily, the same Emily from his office, the one he always said was just a friend. The phone buzzed again, and a new message preview popped up on the lock screen. "Can't stop thinking about last night. When will I see you again?" The air was suddenly thin, sucked right out of the room. The walls seemed to blur, and the steady hum of the refrigerator became a deafening roar in my ears. My hand trembled as I reached for the phone. As the screen lit up, the words felt like tiny knives stabbing at my reality. I knew I shouldn't look. I knew that opening that phone would detonate a bomb in the middle of my life, changing everything forever. But the desperate need to note, see the truth, to understand, to confirm that the life I had so carefully built was unjust a house of cards, was stronger than my fear. My thumb, moving with a will of its own, unlocked the phone. I opened his messages. There they were. Dozens of them stretching back for weeks. A secret history, written in glowing text. "I miss you. She'll never find out. Last night was perfect. My knees gave out, and I sank to the floor, the phone still glowing brightly in my hand. A strangled sound escaped my throat, a horrifying mix of a laugh and a sob. He was lying. All of it, the man who kissed me every morning, who called me his world, who promised me a lifetime, our forever, now exposed as a cruel, elaborate joke. When Ethan walked through the door that night, he found me sitting perfectly still on the couch, his phone placed neatly on the coffee table in front of me. He froze in the doorway, his eyes darting from my face to the phone. "Anna," he began, his voice tentative. I didn't look up at him. I just asked a single question. "How long?" He said nothing. The silence was thick, suffocating. Finally, I turned to face him, my eyes red but completely dry. "How long, Ethan?" His mouth opened, then closed. He looked like a cornered animal. It's not what you think then. Tell me what it is, I interrupted, my voice dangerously soft. Tell me why Emily is texting you about last night. The silence that followed was louder than any scream ever could be. He ran both hands over his face, a gesture of pure desperation. I messed up, okay? It didn't mean anything. It just happened. I laughed. It was a hollow, bitter sound that made him visibly flinch. It just happened, I repeated, the words tasting like ash in my mouth, like spilling coffee, like forgetting to lock the door. You just accidentally betrayed me. He took a step closer, his hands outstretched. Please, he begged, don't make this bigger than it is. That one sentence, that was the final blow. It shattered the last remaining pieces of my heart. Don't make this bigger than it is. As if my pain was just an overreaction, an inconvenience. As if our love, our trust, and his betrayal could ever be considered small. Slowly, I stood up. My body felt numb, detached. Get out. Anna, please, listen to me. Get out. My voice was calm, steady, and terrifyingly controlled. He hesitated, searching my face for the softness he was used to, the forgiveness I had always given. But it wasn't there anymore. It had been erased. When the front door finally closed behind him, the silence he left in his wake was heavier and more final than any goodbye we could have spoken. That night, I didn't cry. I sat by the window, watching the city lights flicker against the dark glass, like distant, dying stars. My phone buzzed relentlessly with his apology texts, his pleading voicemails, his empty promises to fix everything. I deleted them all without listening. What I felt wasn't rage. Not exactly. It wasn't even pure heartbreak. It was a profound emptiness, the kind that settles in after an earthquake, when the landscape looks the same, but is fundamentally broken underneath. My mind replayed the last few months, connecting the dots I had refused to see. His late nights at the office, his sudden mood swings, his vague half-smiles when I asked about his day. The truth had been there all along, whispering in the shadows, and I had chosen to ignore it because I so desperately wanted to believe in us. But belief now felt like a form of self-betrayal. The days that followed passed in a slow, blurry motion. I went to work, I smiled when I was supposed to, and I came home each night to collapse under the crushing weight of the silence. But then, something strange began to happen. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, a change was taking place inside me. Each day, the ache in my chest hurt a little less. Each morning, I cried for a slightly shorter time. And somewhere in that blurry space between tears and exhaustion, I started to see myself again. Not as one half of a couple, but as a whole person. I began to remember the woman I was before him. The one who was strong, who was resilient, and who deserved more than a love built on lies. The road ahead is long, but for the first time in a long time, it feels like it's mine to walk alone. And maybe, just maybe, that's where my real forever begins. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more content.